Well, hello everyone and welcome to SQUASHfit, brought to you by England Squash. This series is aimed to help you to get back on court, and we're going to use all of our expertise and resources to help you come back in a way that allows you to manage your body as well as possible, reduces the risk of any injuries that you might have, and really just give everything that we can to help you so that you can thrive on court and really enjoy getting back into it. Now, our guests in the series is going to include the likes of Nick Matthew, Sarah Jane Perry, Laura Massaro, Paul Carter, Tanya Bailey, Nathan Wells, who's our strength and conditioning expert, Josh Taylor, and many, many more. So it's a really good lineup to look forward to. There'll also be weekly nutritional tips that Ollie Turner, our nutritionist, will provide you on the SQUASHfit Hub. So hopefully you'll enjoy those as well. Now, I'm going to be here to guide you through all of this, bring you from your home back onto the court. And just to point out that from about session 4, you'll probably need to be on the court. So it'll be advisable to make sure that you take your phone, your laptop, and some headphones to make sure that you can do your sessions there. We're going to be running these sessions live every Monday and Thursday via Zoom. You'll also be able to sign up through the SQUASHfit Hub. Now, those sessions will always take place at the same time at 6 o'clock and be about 45 minutes or so, but we might run over. If you do miss any sessions, you'll be able to catch up with them on the SQUASHfit Hub, and you'll also be able to see those sessions on demand as well. If you particularly like one, you want to keep repeating it. Other than that, it's just a case of we're going to start you at home. We're going to get you finishing back on court and ready to play. If you have any questions throughout this session, put them into the chat and we'll post them and make sure that Nick gets them. I mean, other than that, I can't think of anything else. I think we're pretty much ready to roll with our first session. So there's nothing else left for me but to introduce you to David Campion, our national coach, who's going to introduce this series. And then also we've got a very special guest in a 3-times world champion, a 3-times British Open champion, a 3-times gold medalist at the Commonwealth Games, Nick Matthew. So it should be a very special evening for you all to enjoy. I'm going to hand you over to David Campion.
Thanks, Lee, and welcome everybody. Yeah, just on behalf of everybody at England Squash, we're really excited about this initiative, and it's great that we're opening up this kind of boot camp series over the next 5 weeks with Nick Matthew. You know, we're putting a full team behind this. You know, like Lee said, it's extremely important that, you know, we ease you back onto court in time for the anticipated May the 17th opening of full squash in bubbles. But we do recognise that, you know, that there is a period of time that you need to go through to get yourself ready to play. And, you know, this series really is about putting all those resources behind you to help you through this next period. The team have been working hard with elite players, you know, the nutritionist, the S&C, Nick, Laura, Paul Carter, you know, the full team have been working hard with the elite players, but now it's your turn, and it's our turn really to help you and navigate through this next period. So yeah, really excited about it. I hope you are too. We've got a real, you know, extremely good 5 weeks, 2 sessions every week for the next 5 weeks, and we're really looking forward to it. So to introduce Nick, you know, is known for his warm-ups. Many a time where he's arrived at the squads, he's the first one there, he's the last one to leave. Warming up and warming down is, you know, it's no secret. Nick put an extremely, you know, sensible amount of time into preparing himself for the sessions, and he's going to take you through this one right now. So over to you, Nicky boy. I think you're on mute, Nick.
There we go. Everyone hear me now?
Got you, loud and clear.
All right. So welcome, everyone. Big honour for me this to be able to host the first SQUASHfit session for England Squash. Those of you who joined me throughout, how many lockdowns have we had now? I've had about 16, haven't we? But the first 3 lockdowns, you'll know that this is the playroom. We always have a good crowd watching and cheering us on in those sessions. This is about the tidiest it's ever been. You guys have helped me keep this room tidy during lockdown. But Real honour to do this. It's a great lineup that England Squash have set up for this. Slightly different format in that when we're on Instagram Live, for example, feel like there's a bit of interaction between us, but it's slightly different. But hopefully we've got a great group of people. I heard there's over 350 signed up live, and of course we're on demand. So my goal and the team's goal in these next few weeks is the first time you go on court, that ball might look about that big, very small. By the end of these SQUASHfit sessions, it'll be looking this big. All right, so that's our goal. We're going to start with getting you really warmed up today. So everyone knows in squash, the warm-up is crucial. You know, performance-based, start the match well, injuries, level of injuries have reduced. If I'm going to warm up, I better take my top off, get ready. So we know that, but how does that work in a busy life? Sometimes you're rushing home from work. You know, people have told me their warm-up is putting the heated seats on and they're heating on full blast in their car and trying to get warm that way. You know, you generally get to the club sort of 10 minutes before you're on, you know, quick warm-up. There might not be that much space. So I've got 3 goals today in this warm-up that I taught you through. Number 1 is to make it time efficient. Number 2 is to make it space efficient. We all know, you know, squash clubs in the corridor, there might not be that much space. So call it like a phone box warm-up where you can do it in a really small period of time. So time efficient, space efficient. And lastly, let's keep it simple. I think a few people are put off from the warm-ups. Oh, it's complicated. I need balls or bands or a gym. You don't. You can do that in a really small space. And that's what we're going to look at today. So there's something called a ramp warm-up. It's an acronym. The R stands for the raiser, raising the pulse. The A stands for activation. The M stands for mobilization, and the P stands for proprioception. That's like your footwork at the end. We all know the first bit, you know, raising our pulse. Quite often, I put that bit at the end. So, you know, you might be a bit stiff and you want to go into the activation first. So that's what we're going to do today. And then we might finish off with, I know those of you who know me and have signed up to my sessions before, I think a few of you might be disappointed if I don't put you through a little bit of fitness for a few minutes to finish off. So that's going to be our goal. We'll go through a few activations, we'll go through a few mobilizations, bit of footwork, and then a little blast. Put it all together to finish. So who's with me? All right, so we're going to start on our mat, on our backs, a little bit of activation. Okay, as I said, I want to keep this warm-up quite casual, space efficient. You can even be chatting to your mate as if you're next on the court, you're in the corridor waiting, you have a little chat while you're stretching. There is the mental part of the warm-up, as we know. But if we're playing on a casual level, it's just great just to get that body fired up. So I'm going to talk you through about 10 exercises here. I'm not expecting you to put them all in your warm-up, but I'm just going to give you a selection of what might be classed as an activation just to get things fired up before you kind of move into that more dynamic warm-up. I was, of course, famed for my warm-ups. They sometimes last about 45 minutes. We're not going to do that long. We are going to do a session of about 40 minutes. But what I'm going to do is talk you through the form and the technique of the exercise first. We don't want to do things incorrectly and injure ourselves whilst warming up. Then we'll piece them together in a little bit of a sequence, okay? So starting on the back, this one's called supine, lying on our backs, leg raises. So we're just going to do 10 where the leg's just going to be straight, touch down. If we need a slight bend in our knee to make it slightly easier, fantastic. This non-working leg can be bent or kind of closer to being flat. And you're just going to pulse that forward and back at a nice sort of tempo. You can touch the floor on the way down. See how far you can go. So if you can only go to there, just get it to that point of slight resistance. Don't force it through. And then you might be able to get it further as you go. You can also feel the time to stop is when that back's just so it's arching off the floor. So if you watch my back, it's flat, it's flat, it's flat, just arching, and that's when I might rotate back. So you're just going to get the pulse going. After we've done 10, we're going to hold it in that furthest position that we can. If you need a slight bend in our knee, that's absolutely fine. And then we're going to do 5 mini pulses. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what that does is it just helps that little nerve, the nerve that's going down from our backs. If you've been sat in a chair all day or in a car, you know, you can get very stiff. So just stretching out the nerve as well to fire that up. So we're going to swap legs. So opposite leg, you might find one side stiffer than the other. Again, if you need a slight bend in your knee, that's absolutely fine to take the pressure off. You want to be just warming things up now. We're not going crazy hell for leather. You know, this is just we all feel a bit stiff and you go, oh, I can't be bothered to warm up, but it will help, trust me. So let's get to 10. The irony is David Campion, our brilliant national coach, has never warmed up a day in his life. So that's why Camps is, if you ask him to do a watt bike session though, it'll be very, very good, or a volley drop, lots of skill, but not so much on the warm up. So like I said, get to the top here and just 5 mini pulses. And now we're going to do exactly the same line on our side. So the top leg, anything a slight bend, one leg on top of the other, 10 straight sideline leg lifts. Just to feel that activating down the side of the glute.
Yeah, Nick, I was just going to say, like, a lot of the stuff that you're doing is about activation, isn't it? You know. Yeah,
this is that stage. You know, I think people, when they have short on time, so just get to the top point there, Camps, and then we'll just do 5 mini pulses. And those little pulses are quite important because they just work the muscle in a slightly different way. And yeah, I think it's just really important to say, sometimes you only got 5 minutes. You either do one or the other. You either do nothing and think, oh, I'll just go like that. Let's just start. And you're either sluggish or injured or whatever. Or you try to do too much and go a bit mad, and then that don't work either. So just sort of trying to, as I said, this will all come together at the end as well, Camp. So even though we're going through this for about half an hour now, swap legs, at the end, what I would ask you to do is pick maybe 4 or 5 exercises that you like in each segment. There'll be 3 segments. The 4th segment, which was the R, I've not demonstrated. That might just be jogging around the court, or if there's an exercise bike, just sit on it for 2-3 minutes. That's the easy bit. We all know how to raise our pulse. But these are just those maybe sport-specific exercises, squash-specific exercises that are just going to fire it up. You might not do all of these, but just pick 4 or 5 in each area, and that'll be, nothing, no more than 6 to 8 minutes. Literally 6 to 8 minutes, and you'll be warmed up, ready to go. So after you've done 10, get it at that top of your range, and then just 5 mini pulses. Okay? We're going to do the same thing on our stomach. And we're just going to raise back. So this is just going to activate the glutes. Now, the important thing in this is I'm trying to fire up this area. I don't want to create too much tension from the back. I don't want to create too much tension from the hamstring. I'm trying to use this big muscle group because that's the one that supports us when we lunge around the squash court. Is that glute, or the one it should? That's the big muscle group.
Nick, really good point that about the making sure that you don't use your back on this, because you're not actually targeting the area if you do. You've got to really feel it in the glute, haven't you?
Yeah. So again, you get to the top, squeeze that glute, and just 5 little small pulses. Again, it's all right to use a little bit of the hamstring, but you really want the glute to be the one doing the majority of the work. What were your thoughts, Camps, on the latest of the AJ Bell Grand Prix series that you ran for England Squash? Thought there was a good level of squash going on again.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, it's good to see Gina, continuing with a excellent run of form.
Just get to the top there, guys. Sorry, Camps. I just have to talk a little bit as you're saying. Yeah, it was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, and
5 little pulses.
Yeah, really pleased. I mean, Declan had a little bit of an off day, but really pleased to see Patrick step up and show his class. And he's been bubbling on that level for a little while now. Showed signs in Cairo, and
definitely.
I think, on the day he was superb, wasn't he? Just on top form.
Definitely. So we're going to try, whilst we are on our stomach as well, we are going to activate that lower back. So there's 2 ways of doing this. I don't know if you've ever done yoga. They talk about an upward dog and a cobra. So the upward dog, you get your hands right underneath your shoulder blades on the front side here, and you go a bit more from the lower back. So that's a good option. That should stretch the lower back. We're just going to do 5 of those. Just raising that up. The head should come up last. And then the slightly different one, the cobra, is I'm going to put my forearms down. And by doing so, I don't get all of the lower back off. I just get the upper back. So it should feel a stretch more in the middle of your back. So again, the key point as well when we're doing activation, nothing is static. So even this stretch, it's easy just to get there and hold it there for too long. But just 3 or 4 seconds, if that on each, you could almost count to 3 and go 1, 2, 3, back down. 1, 2, 3, back down. Okay. Last one whilst we're sitting down. We're just going to do some windscreen wipers. Okay. So different ways of doing this. You can sit up and we're just going to simply rotate our legs. So one leg will come in, the left leg will come in, and then I'm going to swap. You can also do it laying fully down and you get a slightly different stretch, which will be more in your lower back. So I'm getting a massage from my racket there. So windscreen wipers, just our last one on the floor. Again, if you sit up, you get it more in the glutes. And if you lie down, you get it more in the side, the hips.
I think what you're doing there, Nick, is you're targeting different areas of the glute. It's important. The S&C coaches talk a lot about activation and the transverse abs and, all the little connective areas that support the larger muscle groups. And people tend to focus on the larger muscle groups. But
the large ones.
Yeah.
And you need those, but, squash, as I said, I just want to take you through a few things that I might do. This is almost like my pre-warm-up. So these are the type of things I do. Might even be a bit of foam rolling in here. These are the things I do just to get my body fired up. So then when I do actually start warming up, I've got rid of that initial residual stiffness from the day before or just from life in general. So when I actually do start warming up, I feel good. So when I go into a first lunge or something like that, I already feel quite good. So, right, we're going to go into some calf raises now. So if you've got a wall, I won't turn my back to you. But I'm going to do side on. Use a wall for balance. I'm going to do double footed. So every time you do a calf raise, we don't just go up, down like that. We go up on 1, down 2, 3. Up on 1, down 2, 3. Up on 1, down. You can do this on a step or on a flat ground like this. So you count to 3 all the time. Up, 2, 3. 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 And that puts a little bit of that explosivity through the calf as you're doing it. And if you want to target a slightly different area of the calf, if I bend my knees and then go up 2, 3, I get a slightly lower down stretch than if my legs are straight. You feel like maybe the stretch is a bit higher up maybe. And this way I'm going to target up 2, 3. And you can do that on 1 foot as well. So you could go up 2, 3, up 2, 3, up 2, 3, up 2. Up, 2, 3. Swap legs. Up, 2, 3. Up.
Yeah, I think all this stuff is extremely important, isn't it, Nick? Like, particularly when you've had a long layoff. I mean, it's important anyway, but
more it's important anyway, and you can just get into the habit. You can almost do these sort of things. As I said, I repeat myself, but pick 4 or 5 of these at your favourites. I'll always do the calf raises. I'll always do a little bit of activation. I'll do the next one that I'm going to do, which is a knee to wall. So again, I'll do it this way so you can see, or this way facing to the wall. You're just going to bend your front knee over that front foot and just get that feeling. And so imagine I find a distance where I'm just going to touch the wall and then I push back. So you're just getting that flexibility through your ankle. You'll really notice a big difference on the stability when you go into lunging, swap legs. So you might even notice differences from one side to the other when you're doing this, and that side might need to do a few more reps on if you're a bit stiffer. For me, my right leg is my dominant side, so this one's a bit stiffer. I've had a few ankle issues in the past, so I do a couple more. I might do a set of 15 on this side versus 10 on the other. So you learn that as you go. Last little one for the lower body, and then we'll do one for the upper body. This is my favourite one. Now, if you've got a wobble board or a Bosu, brilliant. If not, stand on 1 foot. Just have a go. Get your balance. Stand on 1 foot. Slight bend in your knee so you're not locked out. And then just close your eyes. Try not to touch your foot down on the floor. If you do, that's okay. Get straight back up. And what you should feel is all those little small, as Camp said, all those little subtle, small, minuscule muscles in your foot should feel like they're recruiting. It's amazing how we can lose our balance so easily when you close your eyes, especially when you're trying to talk as well, like me. So if you lose your balance, just get your balance back again. Pick a spot on the horizon, get your balance, and then try closing your eyes. Better. And see how long you can go without putting your foot down. So again, only about 30 seconds there. See the same on the other leg. Get your balance, close your eyes. It's like bending your knee. This side's weaker for me. Can't even do it for 5 seconds, Camps.
Mick, does that target your glute a little bit as well?
Shouldn't do. I mean, no. Perhaps a fraction. I'm trying to just recruit the ankle here. You know, you shouldn't try and grab too much with your toes. You know, if you feel your toes doing that in your shoe, then you maybe try and keep your foot flat. You may be recruiting the wrong muscle. Maybe if you recruit your toes, you might feel your glute a bit more because you're obviously then squeezing, which has a knock-on effect. But yeah, it's not as easy as it looks, this one. You know, if you've got a friend, you could throw a little squash ball or a tennis ball to each other and just balance on one foot to the other. And then last one, of course, we hit the ball a lot on squash, so we need to warm our shoulders up. So million things you can do for your shoulders, just firing them up more than anything. You could do big arm circles. If you've not got space, you know, there's a high roof or there's a wall in your way, you know, something simple like little shoulder circles, 10 in one direction and 10 in the other. We all know those, okay? My favorite, if you've got space for squash, rather than your boring circles, is actually doing a bit more of a, call it like a golf swing warm-up. So when you've got your racket in your hand, and I'm opening out for a forehand here, and then coming through almost on a follow through. So I'm just opening up like side to side, and you should just feel the opening going in on your chest from side to side. You can even open out to cross over your hands, do them that way. And then last one, swap direction. So your right hand goes high, left hand low. The first one was obviously the opposite. So that's pretty much the activation piece, Camps. As I said, I know that time is short often for a lot of people. By the time they get to the club, they haven't got half an hour to warm up like a pro and get the music on and find their own private spot and warm up. They might be chatting to their mate, not seeing their mates. They're not going to go and shut themselves off on a court. They might be just chatting like we are back and forth here, but you can still be doing these things whilst you're chatting.
Yeah.
So the next one now starts to get moving, because I'm sure a few people I don't want to disappoint them because they do want a little bit of a good workout, because I know people have followed me on my workouts and they always know it's a good one. So we start to get a little bit more into the realms of a workout now. So again, I'll talk you through each exercise. There's 10 exercises. We'll go through them just to get the form. Then we'll go through them a second time in a circuit so that we're actually having a proper workout, okay? So the first one is going to do some lunges. I'm going to use my racket. I always like to warm up with a racket in my hand. I don't know, it just feels like I start to get out one with it and feel like I time it. But if I only just pick my racket up for the first time when I step on the court, I don't know if you're like this, Camps, but I don't think I've got used to it yet, even in a way, even though I know my own racket. So I like to.
Nick, you used to take your racket to bed. Don't deny it.
There was actually a time when DP told me to take my racket to bed to get my grip. Check your grip. Don't lose your grip.
People think I'm joking, but I'm not.
Yeah. But I always like to warm up with it. You know, if you're just doing like this in a warm up, get the racket in your hand. So then by the time you hit the first shot, you know, you feel $1 million with it. So that'd be my advice. So with that in mind, if you have got a racket handy, pick that up. We're just going to do some simple lunges. It might be that the racket's in your hand. It might be that you raise it above your head there, like that. And we're just going to do simply 5 lunges on each leg. So that just stretches us out. We're going to try to, I always say this when we do lunges on, don't go too long on workouts. Don't go too long to start with. So start nice and comfortable, where you can get 290 degrees is what you want. So you want 90 here, a little right angle, and a right angle here. So you want to avoid that because that's not activating the back leg. and you want to avoid that where your knee is going past your toe, because that's going to put too much pressure on this joint. So you want to get into the foot. If you can't lunge correctly when you're warming up in a scenario like this, you're going to struggle on the court to suddenly just do it at full speed. So real emphasis on not going over, and a real emphasis on more going down into the softening on those glutes that we've just fired up. So it's down.
Yeah, it's dropping that back leg, isn't it, Nick? The back
dropping
knee.
that back leg and trying to be as light as possible. So I'm not douche. You know, you can hardly, when I lunge, for someone who's heavy-footed around the house, and I'm like an elephant, believe me, I'm quite light on the court because I've trained it. And this is where it starts. You can't suddenly click your fingers and be a good mover on the court if you don't warm up correctly. So whether it's a forward lunge or a side lunge, you can hardly hear the sound, which means you're recruiting the right muscles. You're not clumping your foot down all the time. Okay, so the next one, we're going to do a high knee, reverse lunge. High knee, reverse lunge. And we'll keep swapping legs. So we go left, back, right, back. And this just gets a slightly different activation in that glute. Again, you want to try and keep your chest nice and upright, not leaning. It's very easy to do that. Lean forward. So try and keep that chest upright as if you're in a lunge, basically. Does what it says on the tin, reverse lunge.
Keeping the shoulders back as well, isn't it, Nick?
Keeping those shoulders back. And again, we're just looking at the form now, and then we'll try to put them into a bit more of a sequence when we've done that. So that's one. Again, I'm going to give you about 10 exercises. You'll have an idea at the end of your favourite 4 or 5, which you can put into your day. And mix your daily routine around. Some days you might need to do or feel like doing certain drills, and other days different ones, you know, move it around. Okay, this is a good one. We're going to do a crossover into a squat. So starting like a T position, feet nice and wide. I'm going to cross over the back leg so you can feel the stretch on the outside of your front foot. So I'll show you that again. Stretch over behind, bring them back to the start position and squat. Then I'm going to go the opposite way. So right foot behind, back to start, squat. So it's crossover, full speed, crossover, squat, crossover, squat. So again, it's quite a dynamic sort of exercise, but you're doing this in quite a small space. You don't need, if you've got a full space to warm up, brilliant, bonus. But if you haven't, you know, you can do this on the spot. I could just go back and forth like that if I took the squat out of it. Okay, so that's another one. Crossover to squat. Where are we up to? So, really simple one now. We're just going to do little walking quad stretches. We've all done a quad. We all know the quad stretch. You stand there, you pick your nose, and you do a quad stretch. We're going to do that, but we're going to swap legs. So even put one leg up for balance, one hand up, sorry, for balance, and maybe that counts to 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Keep swapping those legs. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We're now going to go. We're now going to go back and do the opposite. So knee to chest. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So these are easy activations. Sorry, these are easy mobilizations now. Just to get things fired up, get those hip flexors fired up. If we've had a day sitting at a computer or just been in the car a lot, sitting in traffic. Okay, so really easy exercises again, just to fire things up. We're then going to go down on the floor. So one of my favorite ones now is we're in a press up position. We're going to bring one foot round into a lunge, and then we're just going to rotate. Okay. Same arm. So left leg comes next to left wrist. Rotate the left arm. Let's do a couple more.
Nick.
Right arm.
Nick, would you say it's always really important to do a couple of the activation exercises that you showed at the start before you go into this more motivation stuff?
Yeah, I think so. Just a few. Like I said, pick 3 or 4 because if you don't, this one can suddenly feel a little bit clunky, a bit stiff. So for me, I like to do these when I already feel a bit loose, whether it's a quick foam roll, whether it's through those activations, get the heart rate up a bit. So then I do this and I feel like I'm building momentum to my match. So now we're going to switch hands. So left hand to left wrist, and we're going to rotate the right hand up, the opposite hand, and you get a slightly different stretch. Right hand to right wrist, rotate the left. So opposite hand to opposite foot now. And then when we go back to the left hand now, we're going to try, see whether we can drop our elbow to the floor. If we can't, go as far as you can. And then let's see if we can rock back into a straight hamstring. Okay, so let's see if we can get our elbow down. Rock back to straight hamstring. It's a tough one. Elbow down, rock back. Elbow down, rock back. And then now the last one, we're going to try going into a half pigeon. So anyone know what half pigeon is? You basically are going to take the same knee. So my right knee would go to my right wrist and my right foot would go to my left wrist. So I'm going to get down into that position. And then I'm going to swap. So again, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And almost going into a downward dog. And I'm just activating the glutes there. And this is one of my favorites, but a slightly more advanced one. I thought I'd show some simple ones and a few advanced ones, Camps.
Yeah.
And then last one on this. Choice is yours now. You can either pedal out your cart and almost do some little of those mini knee to the walls that we did, or a few mountain climbers. Again, you don't need to do many of these because the key to any warm-up is not to fatigue yourself. You're activating and mobilizing. You're not firing up. So whether that's a little walking out of your cart or whether that's a mountain climber, that one's up to you. Okay. So last little bit, and I will, as I said, I will come back and put them into a little bit of a workout for you at the end. We'll go through, if I was doing this in a warm-up and I was trying to be quite dynamic, Camps, I'd obviously do one exercise or two exercises on my legs. I might then switch to my upper body so I'm not tiring my legs. I might have a quick drink in between exercises. I'm not rushing through them because obviously it's my job. I've allocated enough time to do it. If you've only got 10 minutes, the challenge is don't tire yourself out by doing it continuously, but you have to do it continuously to a point to get the benefit, if that makes sense, and to fit it all in that amount of time. So it'll take a little bit of practice. You won't get it right to start with. But as I said, pick 3 or 4 from each category, 3 or 4 activations, 3 or 4 mobilizations, and now 3 or 4 from this proprioception footwork piece. And I think you'll bring yourself a nice 6 to 8 minute warm-up that you can kind of copy and paste a few bits in and out of and take with you, wherever you play. So again,
everyone's always got 5 minutes, haven't they, Nick? I mean, that's the thing. It's the 5 minutes. Something like that is far better than doing nothing, isn't it? You don't have to take 15, 20 minutes every time.
No, and as I said there, don't be put off by, we're spending 40 minutes going over this. I'm talking you through the correct form. But once you've got that form nailed and you can do it, with your eyes closed as such, then you can really go at those sort of 4 or 5 exercises in each area. I said 3 or 4 last time, 4 or 5 this time. The choice is yours, obviously. Even if it's 2, you've only got time for a couple, that's better than nothing. But go through them at a decent sort of tempo. Build that tempo up so the activation's a bit slower, the mobilization's a step up again. And this bit now is going to be proper match speed. Okay? So, right, few proprioception drills. Okay, so this is my footwork, getting my feet fired up. This is the bit that people almost forget. So they're like, all right, I've done the activation, I've done the mobilization, I'm ready to play. But then that first change of direction, it happens a little bit faster in the match than it does in the warm-up. So we sometimes caught out. So this is that bridging that gap now. Okay, so we're going to do some split steps, side to side. So really simple. Just going to imagine we're on a tee. If you've got a line on your floor or the tee, you can practice split stepping over the tee. We never want our feet to come together and touch. That's a weak position. Imagine a boxer being in that position. Any punch is going to knock you over because you're off balance. Same in squash, right? You want to have that stable shoulder width type base. Weight on the balls of your feet. So not too far forward on your toes, because then I'm like a ski jumper, Eddie the Eagle, losing my balance forward. And also I don't want to be too back on my heels, because then I'm going to be flat-footed. So you're trying to find that ball on your feet. I always think the heels should be raised just so you could get a racket underneath your heels like that. So you're kind of ready to go with a nice shoulder width stance. Some people like it wider. Gaultier, that kind of French Open stance, nice and wide. But we're just going to practice those split steps on the balls of our feet, okay? You might just do 10 or 20 of those to suit you. And then we're going to go straight into a split. So it's like a forward and back. Again, keeping that nice shoulder width. Again, the racket in your hand, always helpful at this point. And then we're going to go into some rotation. So I'm going to rotate, almost trying to face that wall with my hips whilst keeping my chest forward. So I'm going to rotate that way and then the opposite that way. So I'm going to put that into trying to get that rotation from your all-important hip area that's important in squash.
Nick, just got a question come in. So as you're warming up, what do you do to kind of warm up the mind? You would say, kind of, what techniques would you use and how would you prepare the mind as you're warming up?
Yeah, listen, if you've got plenty of time, you've got plenty of space, you want to take yourself away from your opponent. If you're playing casually, it might be just having a chat with your opponent, as we discussed. If you want to take it a bit more seriously, you might listen to some music. It's handy these days, that can be Bluetooth. You've not got wires going everywhere like they had back in the day camps with the Walkman and everything. But for me, more than anything, it's just being in the present moment. Life is busy these days. You can be thinking about an email you've had from work, or your brain's somewhere else, or what have I got to do after blah, blah, blah. It's like almost like there's no magic formula to getting your mindset right for squash. But I believe that if you can just be in this busy world now, just be in the moment and not distracted by something else, you can deal with that in 40 minutes or in an hour. Just be quite present and use this warm-up to help you. It's quite hard to click your fingers, isn't it, Camps, and just suddenly be present, when you've got kids and you're busy and blah, blah, blah. But use this 10 minutes to gradually feel like you're in the moment a little bit more. So your focus is, you can then hold your focus on one thing or two things that you're trying to do tactically or whatever it is in the match. Yeah, and whereas if you've got a million other things going on, it's impossible, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, Nick, as well, maybe when you are warming up and you're doing some activation with your footwork there, is actually thinking about, how you would move and, kind of visualize efficiency.
Trying to visualize it if you're on the tee, absolutely. And you take it to that level. But yeah, like almost build that, this is the last stage of the warm-up now. So we built that through. The first bit might just be, just getting going. The second phase might be starting to tune in a little bit. And this phase right now, I'm really starting to think about the specifics maybe. But don't expect to suddenly get out of the car after a busy day and or you've been at school or whatever it is and expect to suddenly get into gear just like that. It will take this whole 10 to 15 minutes to do it. Okay, the last one of this is we're going to go, so we're going to be in that split step position and I'm going to cross, back to start, cross, back to start. So a bit quicker. So right goes over left. So you can see I've actually got 4 squares here in my floor. I'm trying to go opposites together, opposites. Okay, so imagine I've got a chessboard and I'm going white squares, white squares, black squares. Okay, so that's a good one. And then we're just going to do some double leg ankle hop. So we're just going to hop side to side, 2-footed. Again, balls at the feet. Trying to tune this in. Maybe imagine yourself pushing off the tee. Then we're going to go forward and back, 2-footed. And we're going to do the same thing, single-footed. Again, with this, make sure you've got a bit of give in your knee. You're not too rigid. You're trying to find that balance between being a little bit stiff, but relaxed. You don't want to be tense. Okay? So just cross side by side on my left, forward and back, swap legs. Got a bit of a dodgy Achilles at the moment, Cam, so this one's a bit stiff. forward and back. Oh, that's a bit sore. That's why we're doing it. And yes, last little bit, I'm just going to think about a little bit of transfer my weight. So I'm almost like just a little boxer, like I'm on the spot. Where am I going to go? Right, forehand, boom, visualize, side to side, back and back, right, back and go. I might even try a little pretending. Imagine I'm going to go, and then this time I actually do go, or go the opposite way. So step, 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 and then go that way. So just practicing that contact period with the floor. So feel the floor, push off and go. Okay, feel the floor, feel the floor, feel the floor, push off and go. You might even do it where you're a little bit more jogging on the spot, and then just imagine a little split step and go. Jogging on the spot, little volley and go. Okay, so lots of things like that. Okay. As a very, 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 very last point, we've got 4 dynamic exercises that I'm going to teach you, because in a minute, I want it to flow when we go into the full little circuit to finish. Okay. So we've got a drop lunge. So this is the thing you might do 30 seconds before you go on court, just to really fire everything up into match speed. You might only do 3 each leg. Okay. So the first one is a drop lunge. I'm in my T position, and I'm going to try as fast as I can from here to get into a lunge. So even at my age counts, I've still got a bit of speed there. So lunge, I'm in my split position, ready, and then lunge, other side.
Still got it, Nicky boy.
Still got it, mate. Only for 3.
You were good in the doubles the other day. I was quite impressed.
I only had to hit about 3 balls, that's why. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 each leg. So I'm going to go drop right, back up, drop left, back up, drop right, back up, drop left, back up, drop right, back up, drop left, back up. Okay, so 3 drop lunges on each side. It's about the speed of contact now. Same thing, but we're going to get it repetitive now. So we're going to get into that lunge position that we just found ourselves in, and we're going to go down into that back knee bend, as Camp said, jump up as high as we can and swap legs. So it's a split squat or a lunge jump. Okay, swap legs. So let's get into it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's it. So when we're warming up, we're not trying to do 20 to fatigue. We might just do a few quick ones. Okay, 2 more. So we've got the same thing where we're going to go into a squat. So I'm on my T position, and then I'm going to squat. Okay, T position. I'm sort of just in that boxing position, T position, and then squat down. So I'm just going to do 3 of those. Called the drop squat. Again, nice and fast. Take your time on those. We'll piece this all together in a minute. Okay, and then the last one, I'm going to do a drop squat, and I'm going to do 3 jumps. Okay, so we're going to go up. That's 1. Drop squat. 2. See how high you can get. Again, stay nice and right. And that's 3. And that's it. You'd be pretty much racket ready to go. Okay, so very quickly, we're going to run through that as a quick, it's going to take us 5 minutes, I reckon. Quick circuit. Okay, so non-stop, just as a little blast to finish you off. I'd be ready to play at that point, but let's just put it into a little sequence counts for everyone. Okay, so let's start. We're going to go lunges, 5 each leg. Okay, everyone with me? We're going to put it in a sequence. Okay, let's go. 5 each leg lunges. If you get behind me, that's okay. I'm going to call each exercise out. So 5 lunges each leg. 7, 8, 9, 10. Reverse lunge, high knee. 5 each leg. Reverse lunge, high knee. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cross over to squat. Cross, squat, cross, squat. 5 in each direction. One more. Then we're going to do walking quad stretch, okay? Walking. 2. You might even do a little skip in between. So we're going to do 5 each leg. Little skip, opposite quad. Little skip, opposite quad. So count 5 each leg. Here we go. And then we're going to do the same, hooking the knee to the chest. A little skip, knee to chest. Little skip, knee to chest. Little skip. So you should feel that all important heart rate raising now that we're putting this all together. Ready? Couple more. Then we're going to get down on all fours. We're going to do press up lunge, rotate right. Left leg, rotate left. Right leg, rotate right. Left leg, rotate left. We're again going to swap. So we're going to do right leg, rotate opposite. Left leg, rotate opposite. 2 on each. And then the last one, we're going to try and put our elbow down, rock back. Elbow down, rock back. Elbow down, rock back. Last one, elbow down, rock back. From here into the half pigeon. 3 each leg. Down dog, half pigeon. Down dog, half pigeon. Down dog, half pigeon. Down dog, half pigeon. Last one, half pigeon. And then from here, a few of those little calf walkouts. And a few mountain climbers. Let's go 20 each leg mountain climbers. Okay, so then stand back up. Okay, racket in hand. We're on to the fast feet now. We're going to do 20 of each one, 20 split steps. You ready with me? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice and light with contact. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Remember, you're trying to be light and relaxed whilst a little bit of stiffness to get the speed. So forward and back. 20, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 20, rotate. 20. Split cross, split cross, split cross. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Double leg ankle. 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 forward and back. 1, 2, 10. Same single leg. Left leg. 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Forward and back. 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. Keep up with me if you can. Right leg over the line. Forward and back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. Okay, we're into that last little sequence of the drop lunges. Let's go 5s for this one, just because we want to finish you off. So remember, we're in that T position, boxing position, and we're going to drop into a lunge. 5 each leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stay in that position. 10 split squat jumps or lunge jumps. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. From here into the drop squats for 5. So again, that boxing position, T position, relax and squat. Relax, squat, relax, squat, relax, squat, relax, squat. That's 5. Going to do the same with a jump at the end of it, and then we're done. Ready? T position, drop, up. Reset your feet. T, drop, and up. That's 2. Take your time, make sure they're good quality. Drop, up. 2 more. Drop, up. Last one. And up. And now, that's probably too much for what you would do in a warm-up. But just showing you the 2 extremes. We went for form to start with, camps, quality, and then we went for quantity at the end. So what I've taught you there, hopefully, fingers crossed, is I've taught you your limits. I've taught you your ceiling. At the end, we probably overdid it in terms of a warm-up. And at the beginning, we maybe underdid it in terms of the speed we went. So if you know your floor, if you know your ceiling, find your medium. This is a parting word from me. Find your happy medium, 7 or 8, 10 minutes max. That will get you fired up, ready to play. It'll be time efficient, space efficient, and best part yet, quite simple. Right, that's me handing over to Laura Massaro on Thursday. So please join Laura. Knowing Laura, she'll be far more complicated with things than me. No, just kidding. No, she's brilliant coach, some great ideas. So I'm sure you'll learn so much from Laura. So thanks for joining me. Over to you, Camps.
Thanks, Nick. Yeah, brilliant session and just a real insight and demonstration into what you can do. And what you did there, Nick, is a lot of that is actually how you warmed up, isn't it? And it's a good example of options of what you've got. And what we'd say is be really careful, be very careful about the ceiling, the limits, and so on.
As I said there, there was a few little jumps there that's not for everyone. Few bits that are not for everyone there. As I said, you find your own pace, find your favorite exercises, find your own pace. And, I didn't want to disappoint those regulars there at the end camps who, they wouldn't forgive me unless I made them work up a little bit of a sweat. So there was hopefully something for those regulars as well.
And this is the sort of thing that a lot of our elite juniors and seniors are doing on part of their daily work. And you can taper this how you like it. 5-10 minutes before the start of a game is absolutely essential.
5-10 minutes, find your own. If you only learned one exercise from me today that you bring into your normal routine, then I've done my job. Whenever I speak to anyone who's an amateur about elite sport, I always try to emphasize, and they're always surprised how simple it is, because they think, elite sport must be complicated and you're doing all this science and blah blah blah, but it is just good simple things done well often. Simple. And it's like, it is really as simple as that. I've had people in between games tell me to move my feet more, and it's been the best bit of advice I've been given. I've had people tell me to hit the ball harder. That expert advice doesn't have to be complicated, so keep it simple. And, you won't go wrong.
Thanks, Nick. Brilliant. Thank you for that. So I'm going to hand over to Lee, who will conclude the session.
Yeah, thanks, Camps. Thanks, Nick. Great session. Hopefully everyone found it really inspirational. Make sure you do it at that same intensity. Nick does it at that intensity every single time, even when he's coaching. As Nick mentioned, we will be back on Thursday with Laura Massaro. She will be looking at the fundamentals of movement. So that session will be at 6 o'clock. There's a link in the chat that you can find to sign up for it, like you did for this one. So hopefully you found this really inspirational. But that's it from us. So from myself, England Squash, Camps, and Nick Matthew, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again Thursday at 6 p.m. for more SQUASHfit, brought to you by us, England Squash. See you then.